1998. This was before the tiaras, before all royal interviews, before anyone ever really knew who she was, just Meghan Markle, a regular college student at Northwestern University. She wasn't famous yet. She wasn't a royal figure. She was just another young woman with big dreams, strong goals, and a deep wish to feel like she truly fit in. But one night inside that sorority house, something happened that would stick with her forever. A silly prank, a loud scream, and a silence that money would later pay to cover up. It all started like any other typical night in the sorority house. Music was blasting through the halls. Girls were laughing loudly. Makeup was all over bathroom counters. But then someone had switched a tube of eyelash glue with super glue. No one really knows who did it or why they did it. Some people say it was just a bad joke. Others think it was payback, jealousy, or maybe even drama between girls. But when one sorority sister went to use it, the night totally changed. Her eyelids got stuck shut instantly. She screamed. Panic took over the whole room. What was supposed to be an innocent prank go truly serious really fast. In minutes, the girl was rushed out to the ER. Some say she couldn't see for a while. Other people say her parents almost pressed charges. But no matter who yousted, only one name kept getting whispered: Meghan Markle. There weren't any police reports. Nothing made the news. Nobody went public. Just students in shock, girls crying, and this heavy rumor that something really bad had gone down in that house. The laughing that night stopped cold. Silence took over. And by the next day, Meghan was nowhere to be found. No classes. No one saw her at the dorms. Not a lunch in the cafeteria. It was as if she just disappeared completely overnight. Some students said she'd been suspended. Others were sure she'd been quietly expelled. A few thought she had been told to lay low for a while until things blew over. But what everyone did agree on, she was gone. Her professors wouldn't talk about it. The sorority refused to answer any questions, and the girl who got hurt transferred out and never came back. Weeks passed. The talk began to slow down. But for the few who still remembered, something about Meghan's sudden disappearance felt suspicious. Like this wasn't punishment, it felt more like something was being protected. Because when you know the right people, even big problems can magically disappear. And this was maybe the first time Meghan realized that silence isn't being weak. Silence can actually be power. Behind the scenes, people say that one man quite a lit took care of the mess. Thomas Markle, her dad. A guy with some industry friends. A man who knew how cameras worked, how contracts worked, and how protecting someone's reputation really worked. People who were around back then, Satamus Maitov paid over $200,000 to clean everything up. No police report filed. No courtroom record. No official public story. Just a deal made privately and a deep silence. He ain't just helping Meghan avoid trouble, he was thinking about her future. Thomas Markle wasn't fixing a mess to save face. He was making sure Meghan still had a chance to be somebody one day. Somebody who couldn't be touched. And that show Meghan learned one major thing about life. Truth doesn't always win. Money can totally change a story. And with good connections, parts of your past can be erased like they never happened. The girl who disappeared quietly from campus came back months later, but everything about her was different. Because when the world has already cleaned up your mistakes, you stop being regular. You learn how to write the story your own way. Months later, Meghan showed back up. But she didn't seem like the same person who had left school in shame. The quiet and shy girl who used to just blend in was now showing up with confidence, style, and what felt like a perfect image. It honestly seemed like the old Meghan was completely gone. And in her place was someone who finally figured out most important thing. Power doesn't come from truth, it comes from the story you tell. When Meghan reappeared, No one saw her in classrooms or campus libraries. Instead, she was spotted at yacht parties and fancy dinners with rich and powerful people. She talked a bout traveling around Europe. About sipping champagne, about dinner parties, most college students could only dream about. Nobody really knew how she got those invites. Some people said she was paid to attend top-tier events not as a star, but as someone people liked having there. Others said she was building connections with big names, the kind that opened more doors than a college degree ever could. While her classmates were stressing over finals and papers, Meghan was learning a whole different kind of lesson. She figured out how to completely change her image. She was studying how to talk, how to hold herself, and how to walk into a room and make people believe her version of reality. This was her real School 1 about charm and image and rebranding. By the time she showed her face to the public again, Meghan Markle wasn't just a student anymore. She was a whole performance. She was always groomed, perfectly timed, and somehow always 2 steps ahead of the truth. Later on, when Meghan talked about her college years, the story changed completely. It started to sound so polished, almost too polished. She told people she graduated from Northwestern with a dual major in theater and international relations. She talked about working at the U.S. Embassy in Argentina and even claimed that she became fluent in Spanish in just 5 weeks. She painted this picture of a woman who wasn't just smart and pretty, but almost superhuman. And the crazy thing is, no one questioned it for years because when a story sounds perfect, no one wants to ruin it. But when people finally start digging, the facts didn't all add up. Northwestern never offered that dual major and the embassy job. Yeah, it was real, but she was just organizing files, not writing up big policy moves. And the fluency in Spanish. Expert linguists said it's almost impossible to learn a thought well in just over a month. Then the photos started showing up. Pictures of Meghan in a graduation gown. All smiles, but the robe sure wasn't even Northwestern's. It was just a plain black one. No classmates next to her. Not clear pictures of the actual university. Just Meghan, smiling into a camera, with no real proof of where she honestly was. Slowly, people started thinking, was all of this part of a story built to impress, not to be accurate? A perfect version of the truth, edited like a great movie script. And somehow the people and her friends, even family, didn't seem to question it much either. Like maybe even they had started to believe the new version. Fast forward a few years, and that same version became the official story. When Meghan stepped into the royal family, Buckingham Palace shared her full bio, and it was full of everything story generally said. The dual degree, the embassy work, the fluency in new languages. Her life was officially stamped with the truth she had made. And no one checked. I mean, why would they? She wasn't just Meghan anymore. She was a royal, dream-educated, global, super accomplished. Exactly the type of woman that Palace wanted to show off. But then, years later, something quietly changed. One day, out of nowhere, the palace edited her bio. That line about her dual degree. Gone, quietly. No heads up. No press release. Journalists noticed, ran the old version beside the new. And it was obvious they deleted anything they couldn't confirm. So Northwestern finally cleared it up. That dual major. Never real. Just a myth. The palace didn't talk about it. They just scrubbed it away, hoping no one would bring it up. And that quiet little deletion said more than any royal press statement ever could. Because Meghan had spent years proving the Sony point. If you control the story, you control truth. But with that small update delete, no comment, people started noticing cracks. And suddenly, that one secret Meghan buried back in 1998 came back around. Everything, that prank, the payoff, the new identity, the fairy tale, it all started resurfacing. And through it all, One name was still there. Thomas Markle, her father. He was there in '98, allegedly writing the check to erase that scandal. And years later, he was still there. But this time, the story changed. That same man she once leaned on became the guy she walked away from. The silence they once shared was now something broken. The trust was gone. And the very silence that kept her Safiel those years. It's what tore them apart. Because the second you treat truth like a transaction, love starts to look like leverage. In the end, every make-believe version, a reality starts to fall apart. For Meghan, it didn't start with a big scandal. It began with one small school record. One deleted line. One quiet change in her bio. That was the moment. People started questioning everything. Because when you track it back, it all leads to that night in college. The prank. The hushmoney. The globe. The fairy tale. It all teaches the same lesson. When you control your story, you control your world. But when history controls you, there's nowhere to run. Meghan Markle didn't get here because of magic, fate, or a prince. She got here because she designed her rise, every piece of it. And for years, it worked almost too well. Until truth quiet, patient came knocking again. And this time silence couldn't protect her anymore.